Hello my veggie foodies, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, welcome, and I hope you consider staying a while. So today we are reviewing episode 5 of It's CompliPlated, which is Tabitha Brown's show on Food Network. So this episode's theme was Takeout.
Takeout.
So yeah.
I was thinking of Takeoff.
Oh.
Like off of the rapper. Yeah. What's their name? Now I want to know. Migos. Oh.
Anyway, so this episode's theme was Takeout. So basically any variation of Takeout is up for grabs. So starting off round 1, our first judge, of course they love Chinese takeout. More specifically, classic Chinese takeout. But he also, he's a dancer, he's athletic, I think he did stunts, what's it called?
Yeah, he was
a stunt man,
yeah.
Right?
Yep.
A stunt person now, maybe. And so in his diet, he does not include refined sugar or gluten. So, of course, no refined sugar, no gluten, and plant-based, and a Chinese classic.
Kind of easy, kind of.
Well, I mean, when you think about, certain things that gluten is in, like, as far as, like, noodles and stuff like that, I mean, you have to think about it. Anywho, so let's get into the first dish. So our first contestant this round was Norma Perez. Her specialty, and I actually believe she is plant-based, so we have another plant-based chef on this one, which is exciting.
Definitely.
And she said that her, I guess, what word I want to use? Her main kind of inspiration for her dish is from her heritage. So she does Salvadorian plant-based food. So her first dish, she called it a salvi chow mein. And I did think it was interesting. The judges seemed to really like her dish. And first of all, I'm going to start off. I love her energy.
She was dope.
Especially with the hip hop dance.
yeah, like she was bringing the energy. Like I feel like she's been the most energetic chef on the show.
Yes, I love her, and I just wanted to give her a hug because she just, I don't know, she just had me smiling just watching the
Positive
show.
vibes.
Yeah.
Positive.
So I loved Norma Perez.
Yeah.
And I wanted to note though, it seemed like the judges really liked her dish, but the only complaint I can remember was Chef Chohan mentioned how her noodles were broken up, and she said that basically in Chinese cooking that long noodles is I think it signifies
like longevity, like a wish for longevity, long life.
Well, like a good year.
And Tail talking about like this look like we ain't gonna make it too much longer.
Right. But I love that tidbit because I'm learning so much from this show, not just cooking tips. And I got a comment on our last video from one of the chefs from one of the previous episodes, and she gave me a tip as well. So between talking with people that were on the show, watching the show, and just extra things. I've just been learning so much. I've learned more about keto. I've learned about some stuff about Chinese culture and their cooking that I had no idea about.
It's culture in the cooking.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Yep.
That's the thing, like, it's certain things that just brings people together, like music, and I think food is another.
Definitely.
Because every culture has their own, like, maybe rendition of things, but if you like good food, then you can connect on some level.
Good food brings good company.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so next up is Craig Green. His dish was a orange glazed pumpkin seed tofu. And his looked really good.
They had my attention.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, they had my attention.
Yeah, I really liked his. He was kind of going for, of course, an orange chicken, or a mock orange chicken, I guess you would say. I think the only thing that the judges had to say was that they wish they may have gotten more sauce on it.
Yeah, they wanted saucy.
Yeah, which I guess when you think of orange chicken, you do think of it like very like coated.
More than enough, not just a dab. So.
But I really liked how he made his own orange sauce. Of course, no refined sugar, but he used it making like fresh oranges and and just the whole nine. I was very impressed. I'm like, so now take down in my nose, like I need to make a fresh orange sauce or orange chicken or mock chicken
from citrusy
from
fruits.
oranges.
Yeah.
I love that, and I loved his dish. Next, I want to say it was Tahi Gonzalez. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correctly. Tahi, was that her name?
I think so. I had a hard time kind of catching it at times.
Okay, so. I believe it's Tahi Gonzalez. Please forgive me if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. She made Chinese mushroom vegetable noodles. And I think originally she started off using mushrooms as her original noodle, but I think she did add maybe rice noodles. She did seem that she was having maybe a hard time because I don't think she was very familiar with and maybe like some Chinese aspects, because she was saying, I'm just trying to add things that will make it taste more like Chinese food. So I think she just wasn't maybe familiar with that flavor profile. But overall, though, her dish looked really good. Her dish was pretty, and it seems like the judges liked her dish. The thing I guess that the judges said was something about she used was a dehydrated shiitake mushroom or shiitake mushroom.
Something along those lines, and it gave a unique flavor and that matched with the smell. So it kind of, they said it tasted good, but at the same time, that flavor, I guess, was very strong, and I guess the scent of it was strong enough to where I guess at times it can be distracting, I guess.
Yeah,
but they said it was good. So
I'm not familiar with that, so I can't speak to that experience.
Never heard that
I don't think I've ever. I mean, if I have had dried, shiitake, I probably didn't know I was having it.
Yeah, I think Chef Chohan was basically saying that it needs more time to get out what she needed. So it's not like it wasn't a great idea. It's just the amount of time that they had on the show versus how long it take. It was just kind of a risky move. So,
yeah. So next we had Karan Horn. Karan Horn. He made a Chinese 5-spice soup with corn puree. And his looked really good. He got best presentation for me in this round. I thought his dish was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
The corn puree, I wouldn't necessarily knock it because it's pureed. He had a few corn kernels like sprinkled sprinkled on it, but it wasn't a lot. It was a small enough amount that if I wanted to like pick those few pieces of corn off, I can't. But since he had pureed corn, I would be open to trying it. Okay. The judges seemed to really like his dish. I guess the only thing that they did say was his broth maybe needed a little more salt, I believe.
Yeah, they mentioned about like maybe some salt or did you say liquid amino?
Yes, Tabitha said maybe add some liquid aminos, which of course will add like a saltiness to your dish too.
But with an Asian flavor.
Flair. Yeah. But his dish looked amazing. I would have tried it. Like I said, he got best presentation for me. And Miss Norma, she got my favorite dish that I would have tried.
Yeah.
What about you? What best presentation and which dish you would have tried?
It's a tie.
If you could pick one.
Presentation, I would give it to Karan.
Yes.
But between Norma and Craig, it's kind of like a tie between them as far as which one I would want to try. Like I said, the orange chicken, I was already like, ooh, that sounds good, so. So yeah.
I think I really liked what Norma did because she, not only did she do chow mein, but she brought like her own flavors into it. And I always like when people kind of mix flavors. And I like that. I thought it was creative.
And definitely not easy to do with her type of flavors and then making sure you're staying true to a Chinese dish. So kudos to her. Yeah.
So I guess now we'll talk about who went home. Unfortunately, Tahi Gonzalez did go home on this round. It was the mushroom, or the shiitake mushroom, her rehydrated, that did it for the judges. So, but other than that, like I said, her dish was really pretty.
Yeah. This episode, I personally feel like is the hardest episode.
Yeah.
Starting with this, like the fact that you had to not make something of a space, because like all the other episodes has like been like a comfort food or something like that, so they can just make whatever, but they had to stay within this type of food. And so kudos to all of them from beginning to end, which we'll keep on going more into it. But you know, this is the hardest show, had to be.
Yeah.
And it got worse.
Yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily say it was hardest, but I will say I think this may be my favorite episode so far.
Definitely.
I just think the contestants, they played well together, and they kind of fed off of each other's energy, and I think Norma just brought so much life to this episode. I think this has been one of my top favorite.
Somebody else brought a little light to the episode too. He took a chance. On the episode. Yeah, so speaking of Chance, which is Tabitha's husband, he was actually the guest judge for the second round. And the round for that, of course, once again, is Takeout. And he said that he really wanted pizza. Yeah. He wanted pizza. I thought you was about to name the...
Well, I am about to name it now, so now you can get ready. He wanted pizza, but he wanted dairy-like cheese, so he felt like it needed to pull or spread similar to a dairy cheese. No onions, no olives, no anchovies, which, I mean, that's technically not vegan. No pineapples, and plant-based.
He told Tabitha, she's like, I like pineapple. He said, that's not pizza, that's a pie. Their dynamic is funny. So
I did enjoy watching them interact and play off each other, because usually, she doesn't usually know or doesn't seem to know the guest judge. So watching her not only have a judge that she knows, but also her husband, was pretty funny.
And two different viewpoints on what they like. So yeah,
definitely.
It was
fun. First up was Karan Horn again. He made a roasted butternut squash pizza, which I was very impressed by his. Yeah. I would have never... So instead of a tomato, which most people think tomato-based sauce when they do pizza. But he did, instead of a tomato sauce or another, I guess more common type of sauce, he did a butternut squash base, which I would have never thought of, but it looked really good. He pureed it with some other things. He did that as his base. He did a few different vegan cheeses. And then I think he diced some butternut squash on top. Was it maybe some spinach? And I can't remember everything, but it looked good. Oh, he did a balsamic glaze, I think, on top. He got a best presentation for me again. Karan just, his plate game is...
He was on it.
His presentation and plating game is impeccable. And I found it interesting that he said that he was actually, his parents raised him and his siblings a pescatarian. Yeah. So he actually has never had
actual meat.
I guess regular meat.
Yeah.
Well, I said regular meat. I don't know, is fish considered a meat or not? I don't know. To me, I think meat. The judges seem to really like his dish. Mm-hmm. Like I said, he had best presentation. Everyone was saying, even Chance, he said, it's too pretty. He said his only complaint was it was too pretty. That's a good complaint to have.
Then he said they ain't what I was expecting.
No, yeah, he said he wasn't expecting it. He was thinking, he just wanted traditional red sauce, cheese, but he said he really enjoyed it. And Tab kind of messed with him, and she was like, he don't be saying that with stuff I make at home. So I think we're all getting tips and little stuff to take away from these contestants.
Yeah, I never heard of a pizza like that, but I would be willing to try it.
Definitely.
So yeah.
Definitely. It looked amazing. Second, we have Craig Green again, and he made a bacon Alfredo pizza.
Now, that's what I would have tried.
Yeah, I actually did put him as the one I would want to try. It was between him and Karan. But I was like, you don't hear or get like Alfredo bacon pizzas often. Not that we can
coconut bacon? Yeah, I've never heard of that.
We have, because someone on another episode did coconut flake or coconut bacon, and we was like, coconut bacon? I was like, that's a new thing. So I've heard it twice now, which means I have to try it, because now I've heard it twice. And that means there's something to it, so it has to be done now.
Hopefully we can find it in Arkansas. If
not... or we'll just have to make it.
You make it.
He also did multiple cheeses, and I really like that he also used cream cheese, which I think gave him probably like a really good spread, because his, and I can't remember what he used in his Alfredo base, but his looked like a regular cheese pizza. His had a very cheesy look to it. And once again, Chan said that it wasn't necessarily what he had in mind for pizza, but he said that it was amazing. And all the judges seemed to like it. I think the only complaint I remember it being was from Chef Chohan, which she did say, I guess since he didn't like I can't remember what word she used. Something along the lines of maybe pre-baking or putting the pizza in there a little earlier, some of his dough was raw. Or she said some of his dough was undercooked.
Of it, you know.
But he still got my favorite. It looked amazing, and if I got a done piece, then I would have been A1. And it looked good. It was between him and Karan for best presentation, but I thought Karan's was very pretty, but I definitely would have wanted to try Craig's.
Definitely.
So on to Miss Norma, sweet Norma. She made seitan pollo guisado pizza. Seitan pollo guisado. So she was like, that was kind of her play on pollo asado, which I really liked that. So I was excited to see what she did, because like I said, you know, I like when people bring their culture into it. So I'm like, what's she gonna do here? But she did have some difficulties in this round, unfortunately. Well, the main one is she wasn't used to working with pizza dough, because she said in her culture, they don't do pizza. And so she wasn't familiar with the dough. Apparently, I think she may have overworked the dough, which made it then hard to spread and deal with. So she kind of had to make a last minute switch to like pita rounds, which, you know, I wish she could have pivoted maybe a little sooner. I think it would have maybe helped. But she also, I think she was so flustered with the dough, and she forgot to actually do her sauce or blend her sauce. And then she couldn't reach the
oven was too
top.
high.
The oven was too high.
But you know, I liked that moment.
Yes.
You know,
I noted that too. I already know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, you know, so for Karan to have stepped in the midst of trying to work it out, and just them just checking in on her, and knowing that she has a hard time, like that was. Of course, it was an unfortunate part for Ms. Norma, but at the same time, it was just really cool to just see them supporting one another. And yeah, it's a competition, but you know, you just in the moment, you want everybody to be able to do their best, and so I just really appreciate it.
Yeah, he got team player MVP. We'll say that team player MVP for that round, because like you said, you're in the heat of the moment. They literally, I think they were probably less than a minute, you know, maybe at this point, or at least. From what we see, you know, we don't know. 5 minutes or so. Yeah, we don't know exactly what they had like in person, but to us, it was showing that they had less than a minute, and he still took his time to make sure she got the stuff out of the oven because she couldn't reach it. He got it down for her, took it to her station, and then went back, hurried and plated his food, and then went on. I was just like, wow, that's impressive, because I feel like a lot of people wouldn't help people, you know, wouldn't stop their train to help somebody else. That's
not in the midst of it. You know, he did it while he did it while he was still getting his stuff done. Like he could have waited to the last minute, then tried to help, but he helped in the middle. Like he checked on the food for her, and on top of that, got it for her. So that was just really dope. Yeah,
kudos. So her dish, she actually ended up being able to get something out. Thanks to, you know, Karan helping her get it down, she was able to kind of do a really quick torch on the top to kind of try to melt her cheese, because it didn't quite have time. But the good thing I did here, though, with the judges, you know, even though she didn't get to, I guess, kind of complete her dish as she would have liked to, they were very impressed, as well as, you know, me, by the fact that she stuck with it, and she did pivot, and she didn't give up and stop, because, you know, she kind of was like, oh my gosh, but, you know, she didn't stop.
Right.
And what she did was creative with the time that she had and the resources that she had. And they did say that the pizza was good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it looked good. I would try it,
Yeah.
you know, but I do understand, you know, the ultimate outcome is that unfortunately she did not make it to the last round.
Yeah, she did go home.
Yeah.
Time was not on her side, and then also just, you know, using ingredients that, you know, she may have not just been that familiar with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I was sad to see her go. Like, it
Yeah.
was a hard thing because they were all great contestants. So you don't want to see anybody go at this point, of course. But I was just like, I just, you know, because I loved her. Round 3. So round 3, this was Tabitha's pick. So she says she loves Mexican takeout. Sounds like my mom.
You know, I'm quick to be like, hey,
Yes.
it's my thing too.
Yeah.
All right.
Anywho, so Mexican takeout. But we brought the first judge back. But it was interesting this time because I guess we didn't hear about these other things because it wasn't relevant to that dish or that category. But the judge that came back along with Chance, he also had some other things that he does not like. So they were tasked with making Mexican takeout, right? So it had to be plant-based, of course. No onion, no olives, gluten-free, no refined sugar, no beans, and dun-dun-dun, no avocado.
And when I heard that, I was like, bro.
I don't know what I would be making a Tex-Mex or Mexican dish with no beans. Avocado, I may could get around that because you can use sauces and stuff, but no beans? No beans? Like, I am a bean. What do you mean?
And then you gotta have a little guac on the side.
Yeah.
Just a little bit on top of it, and you don't want that? Come on now.
Okay, so now we're gonna get into what the contestants made. So you've heard all the things that you can't have. So we're starting with Karan. Karan made a shiitake barbacoa taco. Hopefully I said that right. Barbacoa. If I didn't, I'm sorry. I was impressed because he used shiitake mushrooms, of course. But he smoked his mushrooms. Like, he hickory smoked his mushrooms. I was like, okay, pulling out the stops. Like, he put the smoker, I don't know what it's called, like the hose or something like that.
It's fancy to me.
Yeah, in his shiitake mushrooms, and he, like, covered it with plastic and, like, smoked them. He got, like, I guess a little caught up and actually forgot to put his mushrooms on. But it ended up working out. He kind of threw them on the flat top grill real quick and then threw them in the skillet. And Tabitha actually commented on it and said that actually made it have like a nice crisp to it with him. So even though he kind of threw them in a little later, it all worked out because they seemed to love it.
And I'm going to be honest. At first I was like, dang. But I'm like, that's mushrooms. You really don't need that much time.
Yeah.
For mushrooms, either you can have them, because if you do too much time, you can have them too soggy or you can burn them.
Yeah.
So I was like, I feel like he would be fine. And if the flavors was there, it really didn't matter. And that's the main thing that they, like the first picky eater guest, I guess the first guest picky eater picked, you know, he was like, man, like, this is the flavor that I wanted, you know, like, yeah.
He was very excited about that.
Yeah.
Which is always exciting. His looks really good. I was a big fan. Craig Green, he made, I'm looking up because I'm like, I already know I'm probably about to butcher this word. So I'm not going to try. But it's the word, it's basically the same. It's like a type of cactus, or we often hear it called prickly pear. But it's spelled Nopales. But like I said, we often hear it called prickly pear. So we're going to refer to it as prickly pear for the sake of me not butchering the word. So he made prickly pear poblano rojas con queso tacos. So he actually made a fresh mole, and he cooked the prickly pear down, and kind of made it almost like a deconstructed taco dish. So you kind of, you know, like put it together, whatever. The judges were really impressed. They liked the flavors. They were impressed that he was able to actually have a good developed mole in such a short amount of time, because this is also something I've heard on other cooking shows as well, that mole actually takes time for like the flavors and everything to develop. The judges were saying they really liked his dish, but they were like, this isn't necessarily takeout. Like, this is a fancy dish. Like, this is something you get dressed up and, you know,
a whole vibe.
You go out to eat, you know, when you want to be cute, you know what I'm saying.
What she said.
You know, sometimes you just have to step out. But yeah, Tabitha was saying that was like a fancy dish. Everyone seemed to like it. Chance did mention that he had never had it and it was kind of a different texture than he anticipated, but the flavors were there. I honestly, I didn't know who was going to win at this point because they both were so strong in the last round. I think the only other thing I did forget was the judges said that Karan's tortillas may not have had enough time to cook. That was another thing that he kind of forgot to put on heat on the skillet was the tortillas. Yeah. So like I said, I didn't know. Oh, and they did say that Craig's prickly pear could have been cooked a little longer, maybe charred a little longer.
Yeah, Chef Chohan kind of called it earlier about like how you have to cook it in a certain way because if not, it can be a little bit on the slimy side. That's what Chance said, that it was
squishy or something like that.
Squishy or something like that. And so that was kind of like the little note, I guess, or feedback. You know.
So I feel like it was a toss-up at this point. I didn't know who was going to win. But I will say who was my favorite presentation and whose dish I wanted to try. I said best presentation was Craig's because I really liked the look of his deconstructed dish. He had his, like, you know, kind of toasted tortillas on the side with his mole and his prickly pear kind of dish that you kind of put together. And then, so his was my favorite presentation-wise. But as far as which one I would have tried, I think I would have gone with Karan's shiitake barbacoa tacos just because it looked amazing and it sounded amazing.
Yeah. Hey, I need to find where he cooks at because
Right?
I want that exact thing.
Yeah, and I think his actually said plant-based. Like, I think his name would show up underneath. It would say #plant-based. So I'm wondering if he also is plant-based now.
Dope. Which
may, you know, explain why he was so, you know, good and quick on his feet with the ideas he had.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like I said, this was one of my favorite episodes. And by the end, like I said, it was a toss-up. I didn't know who was going to win at this point. But we still had to tell you who won. Hopefully you watch it for yourself so you can, you know, see it. But, drum roll. Karan!
Well deserved. I don't know. I just feel like it was kind of like a full circle thing. Of course, like he worked for it too, but a full circle of like he's putting the work in. He even helped someone else, Miss Norma, out. Stayed on it, everything like that. He brought pretty good energy as well, you know. So kudos to you, man. Yeah. And I will say this, you know, I passively was kind of talking to Audrey about this earlier, and like, I will say shout out to whoever's been over the casting or whatever for this show. Like it's been diverse, but I really appreciate the fact that y'all have given a chance for black men to shine in the space that I personally feel like, or at least didn't grow up seeing on television. So to be able to give them a chance, and they really been doing a thing, which all of the chefs have really been working really hard. You know, shout out to, you know, to the Food Network or whomever has been over the casting for this, because all of the chefs have been great. It's been very diverse and representation been great. But just to see black men in this space, you know, the way they've been shown and shining like this, it's been really dope to see. Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. So congratulations to Karan. Congratulations to all the other contestants. Like I said, we really enjoyed this episode. It's definitely one for the books. Cool. So I hope you enjoyed this review. We will be back again next week for episode 6. And until next time, wait, I didn't say it earlier. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and if you like this content and you enjoy these videos, please share because we're trying to grow the channel and that would mean so much to me. So much to us. So much to us. To please share because we enjoy doing this.
And shout out to everybody that has been watching, has been sharing. We do pay attention to the comments. Audra be on it. So we love the engagement. We're trying to get to you all as much as possible. We've been enjoying it.
Yes.
And just shout out to the whole team with Tabitha. And again, just congrats to Tabitha for a really great show. It's been really fun to watch.
I keep saying that last thing, but then I'm going to say one last thing.
Third last thing.
So I will say, you know, as a growing, you know, channel, you know, working on being more consistent and everything, the comments and people letting me know that they're enjoying the content and that they're watching and they're tuned in is really what helps push me, especially when there's moments where I'm like, oh, no one's watching, no one's listening. We're just making this for nobody. And I get like, now you're trying to make it emotional. I'm not about to get emotional.
She be working hard, basically.
He be working hard, too.
And I'm just out here trying to support this woman in her dreams.
Yes. Because I love doing this, y'all. Like, I could do this every day, like, no problem.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say, like, when I do get those comments and people are like, you know, I'm just loving the content. I'm loving the quality. I'm loving your personality. I literally always get those comments on days when I'm like, oh, I don't know if I feel like it at this moment, or I don't feel like people are seeing like even today, I was like, oh, I feel so tired today. Maybe we should film later on this week. And literally, as we were discussing what day we were going to film, someone commented and said, where y'all at, episode 5? I was like, wow. And I commented, I was like, you know what? It's coming out tomorrow. I was on TT duty last night, so we didn't get to film. But that actually gave me the push I needed. So thank you for that. Thank you for letting me know that you're watching, and thank you for giving me that kick in my butt, like, go on and get up and film it, even though you're a little tired. You can push through it. And boom, here we are. So thank you for all those people that do. You may not realize, but just the comments and the words of encouragement and just telling me you're looking for my content, that's the push that I need a lot of times.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, see y'all for the next episode.
Bye.
Peace.